Okay, so we're going to get started on Lab 8B, which is really, I should probably change this, but the whole idea is creating your own crews. So I've seen some great student work in the past, whether it be for the Reno competition, senior projects, or even side jobs, that once you see how easy it is to really create your crew sizes and build them into your schedule, I think it's really kind of an interesting way to see your schedule and your costs come to life. So if we're back into our schedule that we created previously in the week, Lab 8, which are major constraints or major predecessors. You can go ahead and just open up this existing one. So here we can go back in here. So under my project tab, if you're not seeing that, just go Enterprise Projects to get that open. So I'm going to right click and open this project. Okay, and then that should open just this project. Okay, and once we're open here, we're going to go ahead, so we're not going to use the resources that are provided in P6. We're going to go ahead and create our very own. So if you go up here to Enterprise, click on Resources, it'll open this resource tab. You should all probably not see this here. Let me go to the view that you'll be seeing. It's probably this one. So there'll probably be nothing showing up at all, but go ahead and hit this drop down and go filter by all active resources. So once you see this, awesome. So what we're going to do is go ahead and create our own custom resources, and I just like creating them up at the top just so you can see them. And go ahead, I don't think you will all be seeing the standard rate unless you did it previously. So go ahead and right click anywhere up on these columns. Columns, select, customize, and you're going to go here. I'll drag it over just so we can all find it. So it's in general, standard rate, and then you're going to drag that over. So usually I like that showing up kind of right after my resource name. So I'm going to have resource ID, name, standard rate. Perfect. Hit OK. Okay, so now we've got it all set up to start adding in some. So same idea. You can, and I just want to highlight this very top one, right click add, or use my toolbar over here to the far right. That's okay, hit OK. Okay, and now I'm just going to manually add in this 422. So I'm going to open up, let's dual screen this. Let's see, so I'm adding in some resources. So I'm going to have my Part B assignment open. So I'm giving you all these rates right here. So where the heck am I getting these rates? So yes, I'm making them up a little bit, but not really. So this is kind of based on my last project. So let's just say rough framing materials. So a lot of times your framer is a great example, will break out these three different cost codes: labor, material, and equipment. They do this because they want to get retention off of, let's just say, the material, since they're paying that up front. A little different than your labor. But anyways, they're really easy to figure out. So let's just say they give you that grand total of $1 million, and then they give you a schedule saying that, okay, that $1 million is going to be dispersed over 100 days. All we're doing is dividing that cost per day to figure out how much this is a material cost per day. Labor, a little bit different, but kind of the same idea. So you can either go from the total down to the amount of days they're spending, or you can get into a little bit more detail, which I'm showing you right here. So this is just showing your typical crew, let's say. And you can even put crew, rough framing crew is 6. This is laborers, but really let's just say the average hourly rate was 65. So I'm just doing 6 times 65 to give me this cost of 3. Ooh, that's not per day, that's per hour. Bet that'll fix. Yeah, $6.90 per. Okay, So anyways, that's where I'm getting these numbers, so I'm not making them up completely. Kind of. Okay, so I'm going to go rough framing. You know what? I don't really like how that did that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete. I like using, and I'll show you why, I like using this plus bar over here because it gives me this little window. I like using this wizard, which we'll get into pretty soon for this. So we've got rough framing. Don't worry about this labor, material, equipment, because as you see, if we hit next, this is where we go ahead and detail. So this is for labor, which will show up as a little person emoji. And then the price per hour is going to be $3.90. Oops. Next. And that's really it. So I hit finish. Okay, $3.90 per hour. Awesome. The standard at 8 hours per day. And we're going to keep going here. So I just like clicking on this top one, clicking under here. So my next one is going to be 420. It's going to give me an error message. Okay. And it'll just create -1. That's completely fine. You could get a little bit more custom, which we'll get into next. So this is going to be rough framing. If you wanted, if it's bugging you like it kind of is here, I'm just going to put rough framing material. But we're going to indicate it right here. And this is going to show up with a different emoji. So I'm going to put 5,400. Per hour, day, week. Default per. I think this is okay. I'm going to just check this to make sure while we're all on. I'm trying to remember if, okay, we'll keep going. Okay, then hit finish. Okay, so now we got this little brick icon for material, the person for framing, and then I'm just going to create my last one here for framing. You've got a few. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. You don't have to do the side exterior, but this will be cleaned up by the time you're looking at it. So 0.3, and then we got rough framing, and again, you could enter this in if you want. Equipment. Next. And this is going to be non-labor or equipment. And this price is going to be $500 per hour. Finish. Okay, great. And you'll see this shifted over to the left or the right. That's okay. You can drag it over just like WBS if these are all in the same category. Okay, so now we're going to go back to my schedule here just to show you what we're going to be doing. So I want you to do the best you can with this. I'm not going to be grading you on necessarily the dollar amount, but more so about the completion. So this drop lumber, let's say, we're going to go down here to resource, add resource. And if this isn't showing up, make sure you hit this, filter by all active resources, and yours should show up on the top now. So for drop lumber, let's just say I've got one piece of equipment, and equipment's really with your crew. So I'm going to put that in here. Perfect. And you'll see we turned this off last schedule, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. So I'm going to right click up in my columns area. Go over here to columns, and I'm going to go to costs, and I want to see really my budgeted total cost. I'm going to put this down a little bit, kind of right. I like seeing it right here after my finish. I'm going to hit apply. Okay, perfect. So what's that is showing me right there is that's an hourly rate. So I'm going to do something right here too. So let's just say, so you're just using your equipment, you're not really putting up anything, and this should make sense. So frame walls, I've still got this open. Let's just say we're using one of each. So we've got a crew framing material, we've got equipment, and we've got a framing crew. Yeah, see, I messed up here, my bad. I messed up a little bit, but we can go ahead and delete this. So I'm going to clean this up, actually. No, actually, it's a good experience. So the material right here, you'll see that it's per hour. So right here, this material cost is just really high. So for this amount of first floor, it's blasting this cost up. So this is a good experience. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this bottom one right here. I'm going to go back to my resources, and I'm just going to edit this one. I'm going to close out of here. So units and prices. So I want this to be 1 per day. Okay, and then hopefully when we go back to add, yeah, you can see how drastic that change was, 400,000. So I'm going to go add resource, and now I'm going to add my material cost. Still very high. What's going on here? Okay, I figured out what I did. So go ahead, go back to resources. So my default day did not change, so you've got to be careful here. So under material, we're going to change this to 1, and that's really just the cost per day instead of cost per hour. And once you do that, make sure you go to refresh data, and that will save it. So it's thinking about it here. Okay, and then once you're good here, I'm going to go back to activities. If you still have that materials here, go ahead and remove it. And then I'm going to go back to add resources. And I'm going to add my material. There we go, much better. Okay, so my material now is a lot less. So we just got to be careful, and I'm going to do one more with us just to make sure we're good. But you can keep going here. So structural steel, I did not give you a cost here, but you can, let's just say, if you wanted an accurate number, you can go ahead and keep going. So I'm just going to say that I've got a framer and equipment going here. Joist sheath deck. So same idea here. Got material, equipment, and frame and crew. Okay, so really it's just kind of a lot of 1 per. Okay, and now we've got a round total, or total rounding up type of thing, to 288 grand where I'm at right now. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with our scaffold. So that's our next one, or sorry, our plasters. So I'm just going to show you, create one more, and then you guys are on your own. So I'm going to go up here. So same idea, 422, error will pop up. It's okay, it'll just give me the next number. Oh, that's funny, I missed 2, but that's okay. So I'm going to do plaster, labor. You can name them like this too, whatever you want, just so you can identify them. So labor, great. So the number I'm giving you is $520 per hour. I'm going to hit finish there. So I'm going to do this one right. So next I'm going to go 422. Error, that's okay. I'll just start with the next number. So next I've got plaster, material. So this is where I screwed up before, so just be careful here. So I'm going to change this to 1 day. You can adjust both of them too, doesn't really matter. Okay, so they're both 1 day down here, and then the price per day for my plaster is $6,800. So really this is just every day that they're on site, this is what they're going to be charging us. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to my activities. I've still got my assigned resources open, that's okay. And then, so I'm going to go set scaffold. So let's just say that is a material and labor crew. And here's my total down here. Pick up framing. So now that's my framer actually, which is interesting. So let's just say That's really just going to be my rough framer labor crew, not really equipment in there. Exterior sheathing, let's say, that's still my framer. So I got my framer and my material. Okay? So you're going to do this for this complete schedule, and then you're going to go ahead and print out the whole schedule, which will give you an overall cost for really just this one phase. Again, this building was 5 chunks of these phases. Yes, we'll see what that number is. Right now, barely even through it, but I'm at $401,000. Yeah, I'll go ahead and plug in some concrete. I'll take out sites just to match this. So forgive me, this is an old one here. Okay, and then the last step for this, so you're going to print out your overall. And then this comes up too, because let's just say your drywaller wants to gauge, okay, when am I going to be on site? And how much really am I going to be billing each and every month? This can come up from an owner standpoint, a subcontractor standpoint. So what we're going to do here is create a filter for the drywaller, as well as just one additional trade per your choice. So if we go up here to filter, and this is kind of why we organize these ways. So my drywaller, I haven't built them yet. I'm going to go back here. So my drywaller, you can do a couple different ways. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and make a new one. And this is just sometimes a trial and error. So I'm going to display where the activity ID, or I like doing the activity name. You can just see we've got all these different things in here. Activity name. I don't want to say equals, I want to say contains the value of dry. And you can put drywall or dry, whatever you want. And we're going to hit, and to go ahead and title this too. So this is going to be your drywall filter. So think about this too. This is almost like a filter search in Excel or PDF, but here we're just adding in the parameters. So we're going to hit OK. This box is checked, so I'm going to hit apply. I don't have any drywall subs yet, but I just want to show you how cool this is. So let's just say I'm going to turn off this filter for now. So once you turn it off, hit apply. But again, all of your schedules are built out. Let's just say I had in here my drywall stack. Oh, spelled it wrong. That's okay. Oh, I did spell drywall right. Drywall stack. And then we're going to add one more here just to show you. Drywall hang. So I think I was pretty accurate with all the activities I gave you. Had the name drywall in there, but they may have not. So now I'm going to click this drywall filter, hit apply. So now you'll start seeing it's filtering for just these drywall. It has everything else minimized. I would just leave this in. Sometimes if it bugged me or a VP, I would just go ahead and PDF or cut it out in Bluebeam. It's kind of a pain to do it here. Okay, so that's how you create one filter, and then you're going to go ahead and do that for the other one. So whatever you want. The easiest way would probably do it by a cost code or activity ID code. I just wanted to show you a little bit more detail with the name. But be careful, once you click on this, you just have to uncheck it. But let's just say I wanted to print this now. So my cost summary, so nothing's showing up right here. So I'm going to go up here. And make sure with your options, click what you want to show up. But you'll see right here, if I go back, hit OK. If you don't have your cost information or resource information loaded down here, so for this example, I like using this one, activity usage profile. it won't show up in the print preview. So you have to kind of change some things before you get into this view. So now if I go into options, I'll be able to click on this profile. Drywaller doesn't have any cost yet, but this will show up here. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. This is that second part of the lab this week. Hope you all have a great rest of the week.